All right, welcome back to another one of these working on stuff around here, whatchamacallit things. I think someone recommended the name of curve cuts, so maybe that's something. Who knows? Anyway, since the last one of these, it has been a little over a month. The last one ended October 23rd. Today is November 24th. So here we go. We have a couple of warm days here, Monday, Tuesday, before actual November weather seems to, or actual realistic seasonable November weather is going to be starting. Snow and cold and whatnot. So today, today and tomorrow, I want to take care of as much outdoor stuff as I can. I have so much stuff to put away still, and I had a couple of commissions come in for to be made from logs that I had salvaged. So I want to get those sawn so they get on sticks and they can get drying. They're in the log pile. I got to pull those out, and all this has to get put away. And I have a bunch of stuff to still put. All the stuff I've been sawing has to get put away. I'm gonna start down here. I haven't touched this little project since I worked on this. It's been like 6 or 8 weeks. I want to get that second bay set up for stacking in. That way, when I'm done sawing in a few weeks, everything is stickered, I can just stack it in there and move on with my life. Stacking and stuff I can do like when it's cold or whatever, but leveling out and grading the ground and laying all those blocks, it's definitely something I want to do while it's still warm out. So if you missed the episode where I got this set up, basically got the ground graded, and then I got these blocks laid down so they're all in the same plane or as close as I can within reason. Put down some 4x4s, and then those 4x4s are all in line with my stickers, so I can just set stuff in there and not have to really worry about a whole lot of messing around. Set it in there and move on with my life. So I still have a few things to saw to fit in here and finish that one up. And this one is this is a 16-foot span. So with these little wall things on here, the opening's around 14 or so. But this one's in worse shape with the roof and everything. We'll talk about that later. I gotta get going here. All right, let's see what the roof looks like. Oh. Yeah, it's not in great shape. So this section here was added on to this section, which was already here. So this roof is a bit newer than this side is. But what I have been kind of thinking about doing, or what I'm planning on doing, is just buying some used roof metal, laying on some purlins directly on top of here, and just putting that roof on until this building is ready to be replaced. That was a lot of the questions I got originally when doing this side was, why I'm not fixing it up, why I'm not putting a concrete floor in. It's because I plan to replace this with a building that is a different footprint and in a slightly different spot. So it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to spend the money on things that are just gonna get torn out later. So I've been looking for roof metal that works. 13.6 is what I need to do this exactly as it is now. 14 would be better, give me a little bit of an overhang on both sides, especially that side, since I don't plan on putting any sort of trim piece or closure piece up there. Again, it's temporary. Anyway, let's go get the floor graded, or start on that. I'm just gonna dump this here for now in case we need it. So last time somebody wanted to see this in a little more detail, so I can level the entire machine, which then levels the bucket left to right. The other thing I can do, which doesn't really work for this, is I can set the boom angle at 0, which is right there. And if I just pull back, that makes a perfectly flat, level surface within the width of that bucket. I can't do that because I don't have enough drop in the bucket. So forward to back, I have to float the bucket a little bit. But left to right, I can simply level the entire machine. And then as I overlap left to right, they'll line up. So I can just find a good starting point, drop the bucket, and I can come back with it. Alright, so I gotta come down quite a bit in the back. Kind of getting there. It's like I'm pulling up too fast. So you can see I'm kind of like, I got kind of flat and I kind of hump, I come back down, I come back up again. So I'm gonna try and float it back here and start catching the bucket right there. And hopefully grade all this dirt back down to this low spot in the front. It's not too bad. This needs to get compacted, but it's a good start. Alright, let's just go with that. It's close enough. That would probably be good enough if you were going to pour a pad, but what we're going to do, we're going to have to get it a lot closer than that. Over here is kind of the highest area. And we'll get the laser set to the highest spot so I can bring up any low spots in plane. 7 inches. So as long as all his points are bigger than 7, it's kind of right at the same plane. I'm going to lay out the center line of all my bunks next. These are at 18 inches. You can always adjust, because the block is 8 inches wide. You have a lot of adjustability, so if these aren't perfect, you can always get that adjusted closer later on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 bunks. Now to set up my grade board, since I want the grade to be 7 inches below the laser, make a line at 7 inches on both ends, and I can put my board in the path of where the bunk is going to be, and that'll show me the low spots along the line, and I can see if my ends are at the right elevation. So this one is too low a little bit. What do we got down here? That's too high. So this has to get shaved down, and that's got to come up a little bit. Okay, I got it so that my line is passing through both my lines. So I'm going to shift down a little bit here and get the rest of this. If I had a longer board, I can do this with one board, but I don't. So, whatever. I think that's pretty good. This is not like as compact as up there, so I have it pitched up a little bit because once the weight gets on here, in theory this should sink a little bit versus over there, which hasn't been disturbed. Maybe a little bit of sand there to bring up that spot, but otherwise I think this first row is ready. Let's pack that down a little bit. All right, such is life. I got one more done, and it's time for me to go pick up my son from school, take him to an appointment. It's 2 o'clock, so maybe I'll have some time when I get back before Cub Scouts, which I'll take them to as well, to maybe knock out a few more of these. All right, that's about as far as I'm gonna get on this for now. I ran out of block. These 2 rows are all block that I already had that I scrounged around for. So I have 4 more bunks to set up, and I can do those later. So we're gonna shift on something else. I have like 40 minutes of daylight still, so we're gonna go work on the driveway a little bit. Since Thanksgiving is gonna be here in 3 days, I want to finish get everything out of the driveway over here so people have places to park. And I have all these tailings here, which normally if I don't have anything to do with them, they just go down in the burn pile or I try and give them away, but no one ever wants them. But we're gonna do some recovery sawing on these real quick and just get as much material out of them as possible. A few years ago, I think it was like 7, 8 years ago, I had showed a project of what you can do with some of these tailings. I made a bunch of like serving trays, charcuterie board things, whatever you want to call those. And I have a contact that would like to buy a bunch of those as like blanks, so like ready to sand and finish. And I don't really have any, I don't have a whole lot of like really sappy, bark facey looking stuff that these type of boards typically require. So I'm going to saw a bunch of these and then that can dry and there'll be something we can do probably in the spring once those are dry, maybe sooner than that, and get rid of these things. Tension would help. Probably get another something out of that. Here's a little bonus piece. That's what all this stuff is over here already. Charcuterie board stuff. Just leave that there. The nice thing about these is I don't have to stack them to dry because I don't care how flat they get, because you're gonna chop them down to shorter lengths anyway. So all that warp kind of gets removed. It's not a big deal. A lot of the stuff I've been sawing lately though is like too big for this. You really need smaller logs with a smaller radius. Like this is too big. Like this stuff down here is good. That's all too big. Oh, too heavy. cleaner. Yeah, these are like too big. Way too big. I think this can be plenty good enough for now, at least. Or for a while. Let's go dump this. I gotta clean this windshield. While I'm at it, I'm gonna toss the saw head in the barn. It's been out here, I think, it must have been at least a month now. I haven't put it away or put it in the barn because it's been dry. We haven't had any rain, and I keep finding myself using it pretty frequently, or like a lot, but also not a lot. Get this thing put away and out of the elements because it is supposed to snow later tomorrow. And then it's going to melt when it hits the ground because the ground's still too hot. So it's going to be a soupy, sloppy mess. Alright. To the barn with you. Alright. Well, I'm going to do this and head in, so I hope you have a good night, and I'll see you tomorrow. Okay, we got a nice rainy day today. I was hoping it wasn't going to rain until a bit later in the day. This morning I took a ride up to see Joe again. He had this, I'm pretty sure it's white oak, he said it was. This white oak stump thing here. That was like the back of a pile last time I was there. He said that it might be something interesting to take and saw, so I got that. I got that thrown up here on the back of the trailer. And then to help balance the trailer out a little bit, he tossed this piece of silver maple on the front, and the whole night came, and then it started raining. So that's where this is at, I guess. I was just walking over here, and I felt really proud of myself because I had the forethought to actually close the glass on the cab last night. Normally, I always forget to close the top half of the glass. I leave it open all the time, and then the cab gets all wet. So that's cool. Can't see anything. Oh, there it is. Found it. All right, there we go. I think I'm just gonna put this over here just to get it somewhere for now. I was hoping to like pull out the logs I need from the log pile today, but I don't know if I'm gonna do that or not. Got it. Let's watch that chain. All right. Whatever. Let's put this here. That gets the boom up out of the way, so there's more floor space to move around. So now in the winter, this thing sleeps in here. It doesn't have glow plugs, and I'm pretty sure it doesn't have an intake heater in it. The only thing it has is a block heater, and a block heater doesn't really actually work. I'm pretty sure it needs a new heater, because you can have it plugged in as long as you want, and it doesn't really do much as far as allowing it to start in the winter. With the block heater plugged in, it will start down to about 25 degrees outside, but below 25, it makes no difference. You know, treated diesel, block heater, whatever, it will not start at that temperature. So it's been kind of an issue, but since I built this barn that's heated, it really is almost irrelevant now, I guess. It's just how many projects do you want? How many things do you want to fix? I got no interest in replacing a block heater at this juncture in my life. All right, that pallet can go away, and I'm just gonna stick that in the barn so I can start drying, and then in the spring, we will have stock for, I don't know, that's probably like 80 boards, somewhere in there. All right, there's a couple more bonus extra pieces since the saw is put away. It's just easy enough to bring those in here and plane them down so that they're at whatever your rough dimensional thickness is. I do the same thing with these super short ones because they're really just too small to do on the sawmill. So I just plane them to about 1.125 inches or so, just like I would if I was cutting them at 4/4, and then they can chill here, they can chill in the barn or wherever, and they'll just dry like that. So that's done for now. Hooray! All right, on to something far more messy. So I kicked this one down the road when we did all the skid steer repairs. This big old leaky situation here. I still don't know which line is leaking, but at this point, I'm gonna pull these out of here and get replacements and just swap them and be done with it. Because at this point, that is the high flow auxiliary, and that's what I use for my snowblower. So it'd be nice to have this done, and it shouldn't be too big of a deal, I don't think. We'll see. So the biggest thing with this is that someone's been in here before, so this hard line should have a crimped on hose tail on it, but it looks like at some point someone replaced this tail section with a crimp-on JIC connector instead of having it be an integral piece like this original piece was. You can see how it is over here, where there's a hard line that goes directly into a hose. This has got the fittings on here. So someone's been in here before, so that sort of scares me a little bit. It doesn't scare me, but I've been burned before, so I actually want to pull the hoses out before I order the new ones. Because according to the parts manual, the valve body here, part 10, these little reducer coupler fitter things, it should be a number 8 GIC, but if someone came in here and replaced just the hose section, they may have also replaced this adapter thing to be some different size. So, well, I figured I'll pull it out of there and check before I buy things. Another thing with this is that this line here, that is the case drain, and that's the one that's down here on the bottom. That's the one that's still intact. I don't use that. I don't have any attachments that actually use that. And I'm not sure if that's the one that's actually leaking or not, because in the times I've been looking at this, I mean, this is crazy worn through, but it doesn't seem like it's leaking. But what seems like it's leaking is like the crimp fitting on one of these hoses seems like it's leaking. And I think also what happened with this is that these hoses that they replaced them with are too short. So I think there's not enough play in those hoses back there to like find their way through this cutout in here. When the boom comes up and down, like this side, you can see there's 4 hoses going through there, and there's, you know, plenty of clearance. This thing now, we got all these connectors on here and everything, and these still look pretty darn tight down in there. So that could be part of it. Anyway, I'm going to order longer lines regardless, is what I'm getting at. So let's start getting these unhooked. Oh. So much, it's just flowing. Come on. All right, that's one, or one end of one. Well, the good news is that is an 8, so that's nice. It's still a number 8. I think that might be a leaky spot there. Yeah, there's your leak. And this connector here. Way back in there, that top one. The top one is the top one here. And then the bottom hose is right back in there. So this guy, this one here, and then the case drain is back in here. I don't know what the best way to do this is. Okay, this top plate comes off, but I don't know, like, I can't obviously get this knob through this hole here. So like, do I gotta take the throttle knob off? Or can I just pick this off and like, well, let's just see, there's 5 bolts. Let's see how much room that gives us. I don't know if that made it any better. There's so much stuff in here now, in the way. Unless I want to pull the levers off. Or I can try and come in this way, which also sounds horrible. So that's kind of what's in here. You got the actual valve lever body connector things in the way before you can get down to the fittings. So I'm gonna try coming in this way. Okay, crow's foot on extension. Oh, yeah, let me get some more of these real quick. Which one is it now? This one down here with no clearance. Am I going to have to take off another hose to get clearance to this? Yeah, yes. Ugh. So I got to pop this hose off, which is a different size. Goodbye, ratchet. Oh my gosh. Cap this again. Fish these hoses out of here now. Okay, let's get this one put back. It was there. Okay, I think what I'm going to do is completely remove the hard line for the K-strain because I don't use it, and that'll free up some space in here and get rid of this mushed. What is this? Smaller than that? Got the original tag under here. It was at 15 inches. This was done in 2017. In retrospect, I probably should have waited another day to do this until the snow stopped, because now I can't use my snowblower with this, but there's more than one way to clear some snow. All right, that's good enough for tonight. Lindsay and Eloise are at the Nutcracker doing a performance tonight. So I just wanted to make sure that things are kind of cleared, so when they get back, they can get up here without a problem. I can come back tomorrow and do the snow removal for real. Good night, everyone. And that's where I'm going to end this one. So thank you as always for watching. I greatly appreciate it. If you have any questions or comments on whatever this was, please feel free to leave a comment. As always, I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have. And until next time, happy woodworking.